And I want to be here and be present. Last time I came, I was up at 6, making my breakfast, getting on the bus, getting to rehearsal, or going to the gym, then going into rehearsal, going to the gym during lunch, coming back out, probably going to, I don't want to do that. I need to be present. Who? New York City, already New York City. All right, y'all, here's the deal. First of all, my ice cream cone needs to be large and in charge. Today is Friday, August 16th, 8:14 p.m. I am in New York City. And I realize that if I do not make this video right now, it's never going to happen. Because I keep putting it off, and the more I put it off, the more things I want to talk about, the more I get overwhelmed about finding time to sit down and talk about it. And now we've just spent 38 seconds talking about making a video that I'm already making. Okay. So we have officially broken up with bodybuilding. Now, as you know, when you're in a breakup, sometimes y'all get back together. Sometimes it's happily ever after. Sometimes it's tragedy. But we're not doing a break. You just be like, oh, let's take a break. That's really a breakup, but you want to see other people. We're breaking up. It's happening. It's happened. June 16th, the day after my show, I knew I had broken up with bodybuilding. But the gag is, I think she might have broken up with me. Yeah, I decided she's a she. She might have broken up with me long before. I think I just didn't want to see the signs. So anyway, this is 5 parts. That don't mean it's long. That just means I'm organized. How it started, how it ended, why I'm moving on, what I'm moving on to, and will I ever return? So I'll make this brief because some people know and some people don't. So I started in technically April of 2021, but really February. Now the gag is, I always thought I was pretty lean. I really thought I had somewhat of a Coke bottle shape. It was giving a little bit more SpongeBob SquarePants, but just the confidence I had no idea. And the plus to that is I have loved my body in every stage. And I actually, some people, like their lean look. I feel like I look quite sick. It's not really cute, even in a bikini. Sometimes like when you wake up in the morning, you look like, you need a hamburger. But once you put on your suit and the hair and the makeup, no, I still look hungry. So I prefer myself where I am now, in that 110 to 115 range. So getting down to 96 and still not being lean enough is for the birds. So anyway, that's not why we're talking. That's not where we're at. We're in part 1. So how it all started is I have always been training. I've always been on meal plans, but I was getting it off of bodybuilding.com and all that kind of stuff, making stuff up, wasn't really seeing progress, but still going to the gym. And I started making fun of the poses I would see the guys do. And so my pro fight, which is basically like your big sister in your sorority, saw me doing it, and she's a bodybuilder, and she was like, well, why don't you just try it? Like, you keep making fun of it. Why don't you see what it's all about? So she connected me to somebody, and I think it was just like a sister trying to help another sister. Tragedy, y'all. Tragedy. The girl had me out here thinking I was crazy. I was stressed. I was dealing with anxiety. It was a wild roller coaster. So then I went back to my profile. She was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that was happening. Let me put you on to somebody else now that I get that you are type A, Virgo Nation. Y'all already know I need organization. So then Derek came along. He is the owner of Team Loud. They are based out of Melbourne, Florida. He sent me like an 8-page document, and I was in love. It was love at first email. I said, you get me. This is exactly what I need. And I started working with him from April 2021 to now, June. Well, we stopped working together a week ago, 2024. So we did our first competition in October of 2021. You just peel back the hood, see what's going on underneath. I did pretty well because I didn't really have that many people in my classes. So I was nationally qualified, which I didn't know what that meant. I obviously was not going to go because I did not feel like I would be competitive. So we took a 6-month off season, and then we went back in. I got leaner, probably the leanest, best I've ever looked in my bodybuilding career. Like, I didn't even know I had abs, yo, because no one in my family has a six-pack of anything, right? And everything runs high in my family: blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, cholesterol, you name it, we got it, right? So my genetics were like, my metabolism runs fast, but backwards, you feel me? So I basically every day was fighting my genetics to try to get lean enough, because I can't even say like, oh, I put on muscle easily, but I burn fat hard. No, both are tough. Okay, it was all against me. So when I saw a 6-pack, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can go after my pro card. So we did a show October 2021. Next show we did November 2021, and at this time, which a lot of people didn't know, I was doing a musical theater show at the same time. If you haven't seen, I'll try to remember to put the video here. I basically jumped off this dugout, and when I landed into these people's arms, my head went past my shoulder, and I tore completely here and down my arm. Thank you, New York. They're with me. And I played it off because sometimes that's what Black women do. We like casualize stuff to make other people comfortable. But I ended up getting an MRI, and it was really bad, and I had to get PT, and I still deal with every now and again when I'm doing bicep curls. Overhead press, never going to be at the 40 pounds I was doing. Anything backwards, I used to do back handsprings, thing of the past, but that's whatever. Also during that time, one of my closest family members fell into a major mental health situation. So literally, I did the show. I came in 4th. To me, that meant I shouldn't go and do Masters, USAs, or Nationals, or whatever was at the end of the year. 3 days later, I hopped on a plane back home to deal with that mental health situation. So that was a lot. So when I finally got to talk to my coach, he thought I was going to say, let's do another 6 months and let's compete. I said, no, I know what I need. So we took 13 months off, intentionally went into a bulking phase. So I put on, we did the work. We did what we need to do. I traveled to New York, Chicago, and New Orleans for 9 weeks and probably had 4 free meals from those cities. And them cities got some good food. So I was focused. So then that took us to now October 2023. I started a mini cut just to start cleaning things up. Then we officially started prep January 1st, 2024. Now, things were going well until they weren't. That's just how my body does. Right around 14 weeks in, my body starts to just not be interested. So we dealt with a lot of ups and downs, which led to my show on June 15th, 2024. And make sure I didn't forget anything. Yep. So how I want to end each part is just like something that I'm taking with me from it, because with any breakup, you win and you learn. There's no losing. And what I realize is that nothing is ever wasted. It's always stored. I learned so much from these years of prepping and being in improvement season and all the things that I use in my everyday life. So I never feel like, oh man, like all those times I could have had that drink, I could have had that food. Like, I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I think everything served its purpose, and I'm grateful for it. So how it ended. My body was fighting. It didn't want it. It was waiting for me to cut the cord. We were doing almost 2 hours a day of cardio, and we would make small improvements, but then we plateau. And it's just the numbers were going down, but the fat, like my tie-ins were just not existent. They just weren't happening. So show day, we stayed at a place in San Diego. I was really proud of myself for doing my own makeup. Amber from Amber P Beauty, that's my girl, get into her. Did a tutorial with me on makeup and hair. So I did my own makeup, my own hair, and I did my own press-on nails. I've never done press-ons before. So I'm going to just say it early. What I learned from that is that I am a lot more skilled in things than I think. And a lot of times I'll just outsource if I don't automatically think it's something I can be good at. So my initial thought was like, pay someone to curl my hair, pay someone to do my makeup when I'm there, pay someone to do my nails. And then I was like, all these other things I've accomplished, girl, you could put a curling iron to your head. Like, don't doubt yourself. So I was really proud of myself how the morning was. I knew they were going to be running late, so I took my time. And to me, it was one of the easiest mornings. I got to sleep in. It was beautiful. I realized that I get very high anxiety waiting backstage. So when we went to do prejudging, I did 35 plus and I did open. And at that point, it was looking like second in masters and maybe third in open. So then we have the break in between, but we lived too far. We stayed too far, so we just stayed there. I forget how long finals are. It was cold, then it was hot, then it was cold, depending on what side of the room. So I already knew I was starting to feel sick, and the anxiety was just rising. When I feel like I'm stuck somewhere and I can't leave, like an airport or something like that, when you're stuck, things start going on in my head. Like I could just run out the room and never come back. So we finally get on stage for finals, and I realize I am not ready for nationals. And we've had nationals on the schedule for a year and a half. But when I was up there, I went up for open, and I got fourth. So then we go to do masters, and I'm literally on stage, and I'm like, please give me third. Because if you give me second, I'm going to force myself to have to make a decision about going to Universe. Because I knew I wasn't going to go to Universe and just do one class. So when they said third, literally I could have just stripped out of my clothes and my heels and went home. Like I literally could have just walked straight off stage. I was elated. I was so joyful. And when we finished, grabbed Bay, we went and got some sushi. And I knew that the next conversation with my coach was going to be about us not only closing that chapter, but closing our relationship, coach and client. And what I just realized, what I also took from that, and it's something that Britt has said on our podcast, is that pink flags are red flags too. There were a lot of pink flags waving saying, don't do it, abort, end it. And there was a part of me that felt guilty. I felt like I was letting my coach down by not doing Universe. I felt like I was letting Britt down. We had already decided we're competing together. We're going to go to Universe together. And, my loyalty runs deep. And I felt really, really bad. And it was when one day Britt was like, you don't have to do Universe, that I realized like, oh, wow, if I decide not to do Universe, it's not going to affect, it says low power mode. It's not going to affect her. Like she just wants to support me. And what she ended up telling me later was like, she felt like she got her friend back. I had lost, if you've been watching or you ever hang out with me, you already know this. But if you're new to the page, like I have zero desire to be anything and anyone else but myself. I be loud. I be talking like this. I'm hella Bronx, but I can also be like Valley Girl, but I can also be University of Maryland, College Park. Like I am animated. I'm joyful. I am a light. Matthew 5:14-15. I am the light on the hill and I shine. And I lost it. I lost myself. I was so miserable. My poor husband dealing with my miserable behind every day. Like he signed up for this. Like I was not, and I'm like, if I'm going to be miserable, I at least better be snatched. And I was not. So we had to end it. And so I talked to my coach that next morning and I told him that this was it. I know we could dig more to get to Universe, but I probably would completely lose myself in the process. And I knew either way I was going to take time off anyway. And I knew I wasn't going to get my pro card. So it wasn't even like, even if I got my pro, it wasn't going to happen. I probably wouldn't have even made first call outs, to be honest. And I went to Universe. So I know this with my own two eyes. So that's part 2. That's how it ended. And there's 4 reasons why. So my part 3 is why I'm moving on. So this is kind of 4 reasons why I think anyone should move on from something, whether that's moving on completely or taking a break. it was not fun anymore. Now, that doesn't mean, oh, it was hard. I don't believe in anything being hard. Hard is a surface. It's a challenge. And I'm always up for a challenge. But the challenge was no longer fun, and it was not producing results. So that was the reason why I had to let it go. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I'm like, hold up, I'm paying for this. Ain't nobody paying me to do this. I ain't even getting no money even if I get my pro card. So once I realized it wasn't fun, I had to run. Yeah, go ahead, put that in your back pocket. 2, I realized I don't like show day. As a competitor and as a viewer, I only go as a viewer to people that I'm close to, that I love. But even then, it is a struggle. I don't know why, but just everything in me, not interested, can't stand it. Though I do realize I like it better in a theater setting like we did in Vancouver than in like a conference room in a hotel. I don't know why, maybe because I'm a theater girly. But I can't do it. And so I'm just going to cut out the middleman. I love the lifting. I love the meal plan. It's one less decision a boss bee like me got to make. So I'm going to stick to that because that's a lifestyle now. But I'm not going to be as strict. But I don't need a show. I don't need a date. I don't need a reason. I just need room. Just get out my way and let me do my thing. 3, I'm not willing to do what it takes to go to the top. My genetics just don't want it. And in a book that I read, he talked a lot about we'll spend so many days, weeks, months, years trying to do something that's not in our natural wheelhouse and disregard or belittle the things that are already our natural gifts and talents. I know I'm made to be a leader. I know I'm meant to be a coach. I know I'm meant to help people push towards X, Y, and Z. I'm not interested in being an Olympian. This is one of the first hobbies or first anything that I didn't even turn into a business. So will I still be in the fitness industry? Of course, because I love helping people. I love coaching people. But in terms of competing myself, don't really feel that interested. And I'm not willing to do what it takes to get to the top. And lastly, my near future requires me to be in the best health possible, which leads right into part 4. What I'm moving on to. It's time to start making a baby, y'all. I am 38 now, gonna be 39 next month. And I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to say I've gotten everything done or anything like that, but things that I wouldn't be able to do once I have a kid, I feel like I have done now. And I'm ready to settle down more. I'm ready to bring a child however way into this world or adopt a child, into my life and really start building family and ground and tradition. And obviously you can't do that when you're still in the midst of bodybuilding. I don't even need to explain that to y'all, but I think for a long time I was resisting it because my mom would say, you saved my life. My mom was 27 when she had me. You saved my life. You taught me how to be more disciplined. You taught me how to have better discernment, how to deal with you, I don't have that issue. So a child for me is not going to save my life. It's going to enhance my life, and it's going to allow me to bring change into the world. And I'm at a place now where I'm ready to settle into that and not let my schedule just be all willy-nilly, whatever I feel like doing, like taking that time and making that sacrifice to bring a beautiful human into existence. 2, we Broadway bound, baby. I am currently the associate, well, I'll always be, but I'm currently creating a show called A Wonderful World with about Louis Armstrong's life, told by the perspective of his 4 wives. Yes, he was out here living that life, okay? And I want to be here and be present. Last time I came, I was up at 6, making my breakfast, getting on the bus, getting to rehearsal, or going to the gym, then going into rehearsal, going to the gym during lunch, coming back out, probably I don't want to do that. I need to be present for the choreographer, for the cast, for the crew. I'm not going to get this experience again. You don't get a first again. So I need to be present. And so we need to move forward. So I'm not going back to Broadway. I'm going forward because I'm doing it even better than I did before. When I was on Broadway, I did the Donna Summer musical, and it almost destroyed my relationship. There almost was no marriage. So I'm making sure that I'm doing everything in my power to never let that kind of possibility happen again. 3, boss life. I have businesses. I need to continue to see them flourish. They are my first babies next to Pepper. And it's really hard to do that when your entire life is revolved around eating, working out, posing, and all the things in between. Cardio, core, you name it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I really want to make sure that I am living in this boss life. And then 4 is I just want to continue to be a better wife. And for me, I'm not passionate about it enough to give it the room that it needs. And I'm more passionate about giving that room to my husband. And last but not least, will I ever return? I don't know. Right now, the earliest I could see myself ever starting to train is like for a show is like 2026. But I don't know why I already have a feeling that's not going to be the case. Because I think if I end up growing the body that I always thought I had anyway, then what's the point? It would just be ego saying, oh, I'm a pro now. It need to be something deeper than that. Or the passion would need to come back. Because I'll never stop bodybuilding. But I was building my body before competing was even a thing. Once an athlete, always an athlete. I really want a track body. After watching the Olympics, I'm like, that's the kind of I got the good top shelf going on, you know. But the way they is cute. So we'll see. I appreciate y'all sitting with me for 20 minutes and 57 seconds. If you have any questions, drop the comments. You already know I do the comment. If you don't know, I do the comment corner at the end of my video. So I actually take your comments and I talk about them because I want y'all to know that I'm responding, because you probably don't come back to a video to look for a response. And it's good for other people to see if you had similar thoughts, comments, and my thought on it. But if you have any questions about anything I chatted about, or you finding yourself in that transition, or anything, something just sparked, something clicked for you, always feel free to write in the comments or hit me on IG at Aurelia Michael. Hit us up on our podcast at FemFitChicks. We got a lot coming up, especially for the vlog squad and everybody, the full squad, SWV, all the things. And I don't know. I feel like pressing the end of this recording is like officially breaking up with bodybuilding. And I feel ready. Peace.